Thank you, Hernan. No, I got
You gotta.
Donna. When you get to my age, you got to walk around with a chair. That's because I did stupid shit in my life. Wow, it's amazing. Great energy. Unbelievable. Great. If we could stand up and dance a bit, I would put on some music so we could dance, but not in this kind of atmosphere. Any case, it's an honor and it's a privilege to be here with you guys. I don't take it for granted that so many people are coming to hear me as well as all the rest of the great speakers, and you're giving me your most precious asset, which is your time. I don't take it lightly, and I don't take it for granted. So I want to thank you and I want to honor you for that. Thank you for giving me and the rest of the speakers your time. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to try to give you something of value, maybe to pick up one insight of anything I might have to say. And that insight might maybe be the spark which might light a little fire. And that fire will grow into a big flame, a flame of transformation, of something which you can take into your daily lives and change your lives for the better. And that's basically why I'm here. My name is Eddie Lindenbaum. I'm the founder of EddieForLife Coaching and Consulting. And after 40 years as a successful entrepreneur in the business world, building up companies of 8 figures and 7 figures, today I try to help my clients and other people around the world reach the same results and go beyond their limitations and what they think limits them. You see, many people excel in one area of their lives. Maybe they're fantastic in business, they're making millions. But in other areas, they're not doing so well. Or sometimes it's the opposite. And what happens then, we live a life of imbalance. We're not in balance. And I think that we have to strive to live our lives in the best balance possible. When we're not in balance, if we look at the martial arts, I've been training my whole life in the martial arts. I have the honor of holding an 8th degree black belt in one of the most extreme combat-oriented martial arts coming out of Israel called Dennis Survival Jiu-Jitsu. I'm one of the teachers in the main training hall in the dojo in Herzliya. I train adults. And the first thing you learn in the martial arts is balance. You have to have a good foundation. Because if you don't have a good foundation, you're going to be thrown in judo, in jiu-jitsu, in aikido-jitsu, in aikido. And when you're thrown in the martial arts, you land on a mat. And if you're not ready and you don't know how to take the fall, it's going to be tough. So you learn balance and you learn to fall. When you have the right balance, ask anybody who practices karate. Most people don't know. But the punch originates with the foot. It starts in the foot, goes up the leg, through the torso, through the shoulders, the arm, and into the 2 knuckles here, onto one point, maximum power, maximum effect. And that is only achieved when you are in proper alignment in your life, in balance. And when you're not, you start to fuck up. And when you're thrown in the martial arts, okay, that can hurt. You can roll out of it, but it'll hurt. But when you get thrown in life, that's a whole different story. That can be a big disaster. When you get thrown in life, then you're talking about in business, maybe seeing bankruptcy, owing a couple of millions. Maybe your marriage is going to fall apart, then you're looking at divorce. Your personal relationships, your children not talking to you. Your health will suffer emotionally, mentally, and then physically. And all that is because we're not in balance. And the thing is, it's funny. Because I remember myself when I started, judo and jiu-jitsu and karate. And everybody is scared at the beginning of being thrown. Everybody is scared of falling. And you know what happens? It's counterintuitive. Because you're scared, so you tense up. And you tense up, and then you fall really badly. Look at the guys in the motorcycle races. The 250 GP, the 500 GP, they fall out all the time around the track. But you see, they roll out of it, and there's no harm done. And the main thing that is holding us back from relaxing and learning how to fall is what? Is fear. Fear constricts us. And fear is a dominant force in our lives. Because of the fear of loss is greater than want of gain. I'm going to say that one more time. Human beings fear losing much more than they would like to gain. But fear is good. And when we have, let's say, some sort of big disruption in the market, whether it's new technology like AI or something, so people don't really know how to deal with it. It's like when we were in the caves and you see a tiger. So most people, they either did one out of three things. They are, fight, flight, or make friends. And that's the way we are as human beings, also in negotiations. Either the assertive, the analyst, or the accommodator. I would suggest with any new technology, and I've been around, like I said, for 66 years already, I've seen a lot of new technology come in. I suggest we make friends. We become friends with it, and we roll with it, we blend with it. And we don't let fear stop us. Because you see, fear, most people don't realize this. Fear is good. Fear keeps us alive. Because if we didn't have fear, we would really do stupid shit. We would do stupid shit in business. We would be doubling down without even thinking. We would be losing everything the next day. And the reason we have fear is because if in the back of our brain is a tiny little piece, almond, like an almond, called the amygdala. And the job of the amygdala is to continue throwing out all these thoughts of what is different, what's out of the ordinary. And okay, if it's out of the ordinary, it might be a tiger, it might be a bear. There's danger. Be aware, be careful. And that amygdala is why we've survived as a species. Because if we didn't have that, we wouldn't be around. So it's good to have fear. In everything in life, it's good to have fear. Eddie, what the fuck do you know about fear? I'll tell you something. Last week, on a call with a client, in a session with a client, on Zoom, 46 years old, he's a product engineer. He had a great career in the corporate world, in high-tech, stuff like that. And one day he decided to go into business as an entrepreneur for himself. And he said, to hell with this, I don't want to work for anybody. And he just dove into into the world of the private enterprise. And after a while, clients dry up. And we started to work together because he had trouble finding clients. And he told me, Eddie, it's a problem. So I said, well, why don't you call people up, people who you know from the past, work your net. Network, work your net. Pick the low-hanging fruit, the people you know. And he said, Eddie, I'm scared. I'm scared. I'm scared to call somebody up out of the blue and say, listen, I just finished a big job. I'm looking for a new client. Who do you know that maybe can use my services? I'm scared. He's an introvert. And so I said, I understand. I know what the feeling is. And that's when he said to me, what the fuck do you know about being scared? You, big tough guy, 8th degree black belt, businessman. And I told him, I'm a master of fear. A master. I know more fear than you ever will know in your life. I grew up in fear. I'm not going to tell you too many stories because I have an enemy over here. It says 4:50 right now, so that's my enemy, the clock. Otherwise, I would tell you stories, and probably 95% you wouldn't believe. But even just one story I'll tell you. Growing up in fear, or two stories maybe. In the old days, in the old country, I grew up in the States until the age of 12 and a half. And my parents were originally from Europe. In those days, it was okay to hit children if they were not so good. You get hit. So when mom hit you, hey, I was the oldest, you get used to it. But God help you if dad came home and he heard that you weren't a good boy, and then he would fly into a fucking rage. And he would hit with anything that was around, like a belt or a plastic machine gun or whatever. So you learn to be devious. And you live in fear. And maybe one tiny little story. I was called out of class. 1970, I was in 7th grade. Long Island, Long Beach, Long Island. I was called to the secretary's office around 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the morning. So, I said, go to the secretary, put the books in the locker. I walked out of the classroom to the secretary's office. I was never seen again by anybody in the States. Not family, not friends, not classmates, not relatives. I walked into the secretary's office. There was a taxi waiting for me and my two smaller brothers. Came home, another taxi waiting for to take us to JFK, and we disappeared from the face of the earth. My dad came home from the Diamond District in Manhattan. He didn't know where the hell his family was. And only years later I understood our mom kidnapped us to Israel. And only years later I understood that the FBI opened the case of kidnapping. So I grew up in fear. I know a lot about fear. And there's all kinds of fear. And by the way, don't feel sorry for me. I had a great life. A crazy life, but a great life. But there's all kinds of fear. FOMO, fear of missing out. Who knows that? FOMO, yeah. They didn't invite us to the best party in town. Well, fuck the party, who cares? Yeah, we care. Fear of missing out. What about FOFU? Fear of fucking up. Yeah, who knows that one? Oh, I was great in that. Fear of fucking up. I was the kid at the last row so the teacher doesn't see me, you know what I mean? Because I never knew what was going on when I came to Israel because of the language. Fear of not fitting in. So there's a flip side to fear. I talked about the good side, but there's another side. Our thoughts of fear, they come up into our mind and they build a structure. And then we grasp onto that structure and we start believing our thoughts of fear. And we live in a life in which we're afraid to leave our so-called comfort zone, if at all. And in business, that's very dangerous. And who here is 40 and up? Raise of hands. 40 and up. Okay. So you guys know what I'm talking about. You built a career, you built a business. I have to finish soon. You have a lot to lose. So you start becoming afraid of taking risks in your business. Not crazy risks, calculated risks. 20 years ago, you wouldn't even think of it. But today, you don't take risks because you start being scared of what you have to lose. And then what happens? You start cruising, 30,000 feet cruising. And when you start cruising in your business, that's when you're going to take a nosedive down. Because stagnation leads downwards. You stop taking risks. And the only place where there is profit is where there is risk. And never forget that. So I'm here today to hold up a mirror for you to see yourself. But not the mirror which you see yourself every day. I'm going to finish in one moment. Not the mirror which you see yourself every day with all your imperfections, all your insecurities. I'm not good enough. I'm scared to fuck up. Not that mirror. We're going to take that mirror. We're going to smash it. Fuck that mirror. And we're going to hold up a different mirror. The one I'm holding up now. So each and every one of you can see yourself in all your glory. The way God made you. And not to be scared to be who you are. And to go beyond what you think is limiting you. Because the only thing that is limiting you is you yourself and your thoughts. That's the mirror I'm here to show you. To be who you can be in all your glory. To be the best you can. To live life to the fullest. And the last thing which I want to say, the last sentence. This week I said to a good friend of mine who's going abroad for 2 months. We were talking and I said, you know, Gustavo, there's one thing I wish for you. One thing. Not health, happiness, all that bullshit. Fuck that. I wish for you when you are on your deathbed, and we're all going to be on our deathbed, you look back and you're going to say, God damn, I don't have any regrets. No regrets. I lived life my way. And that's what I wish for everybody here. And I wish you to live your life fully. And thank you so much for hearing me out. It's my honor and pleasure. Thank you.
All right.